specific to voter registration, how does IEBC actualize that mandate?
In actualizing that mandate, first, I think IEBC has made very commendable efforts in trying to automate that process so that when a person wants to now be registered as a voter, he will approach the IEBC offices. He'll have the KIMS kits and he'll have his biometrics taken. And once the biometrics are taken, they're then uploaded into the voter register. And once the voter register has been uploaded, then now it's an indication that this person can be able to take part in an upcoming election.
Right. How does IEBC deal with issues that come out of voter registration?
As a result of, again, on the automation, I think normally in the course of maybe inputting, there could be issues of double entry, maybe issues of maybe the wrong details captured. Now, normally there's a provision that audits can also be done on that voter register. I think it has been done twice in 2017, I think, and 2022 by KPMG. And I think those reports come and they're also able to assist IEBC now to be able to correct some of the errors that maybe have come up in the voter register.
Thank you very much. I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You talked about Nakuru, and I noticed that there's also Nairobi associated to you. Which county do you come from? Or would you like us to assume you come from?
Chair, that is an interesting question for myself. I was actually born in Nairobi, but now I reside my home county where I still live in Nairobi, but now also in Nakuru. So I am supposing that maybe when the details were captured, my ID indicates that I was born in Nairobi.
Okay. Which one would you like us to assign you to, if we need to?
I think, Chair, I've been established in Nairobi. I've worked in Nairobi for many years.
Okay.
Nairobi is home.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Koki, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Daktari, having participated in nominations and working in a political setting, you can appreciate how politics can be very divisive and polarizing, especially when candidates in elections mobilize along ethnic and political lines, which of course makes their relationship with IEBC inimical to democratic processes. If you are nominated as a member of IEBC, please tell this selection panel and those watching you four ways you would use to strengthen the Commission's ability to manage political stakeholder relations with candidates, including independent candidates and political parties, and the candidates sponsored by political parties.
Thank you. I think in the last number of elections we've had, I think they've all been a bit divisive, as you've put it. And some of the times you find they've been quite contested. Maybe the margins have been very small, and as a result, maybe one party would feel that there were some things that were not done well. And I think as for IEBC, given its mandate as per the Constitution, I think one of the most important thing would be just to ensure that the process is transparent, right from procurement of the kits that will be used, right from the technology that will be used. I think also keeping an open line of communication with the political parties so that they are aware of any changes that may be done this should be communicated to them early in time. I think they should also, excuse me, I think there should also be trainings for IEBC staff so that they know what is expected of them, so that as they engage, and then also just to have more civic education and to have more stakeholder engagement with political parties, so that we can be able to build the trust. I think that the other big challenge that
perhaps what you need to do in responding to this question
Yes.
is focus more
Yes.
on the political parties,
Okay.
because they are the ones who mobilize and polarize people
Yes.
along ethnic and party lines.
Yes.
So what do we do to them?
Yeah.
Not IEBC. IEBC is already spoken for
Yes.
a lot.
Yes. For the political parties, one is also, if we could have a code of conduct for political parties, so that if it can be adhered to, because I think the biggest challenge has always been adhering to that code of conduct. For example, if I can give the example of when we did the nominations, when I participated, within the political parties, you'd find the communication sometimes was not very clear on the certain deadlines, on the certain dates. So you find a lot of misconceptions starting to build up. So I think a clear line of communication would be appropriate, and also a level of transparency in the entire process.
You had already mentioned, Daktari,
Yes.
the clear line of communication,
Yes.
and also transparency in the
Yes.
activities.
Yes.
Are there any two more that you can mention?
With regard to the political parties?
Yes, so that to improve that relationship between candidates, political parties with IEBC, looking at everything is usually thrown at IEBC,
Yes.
and the political parties stand back as if they have no blame in this game.
I think also on the election, on the dispute mechanisms that maybe the parties will also put into play, I think there needs to be an element of fairness. The process needs to be it needs to be fair to all the candidates. A candidate needs to feel that he lost, but in a fair and transparent manner.
Thank you very much, Daktari, and I wish you well, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to invite FCPA Tanwi to ask you some questions.
Thank you, Chair. And Mwanakatienya, I want to pick from where my chair left. How many levels are there for one to be an ACCA?
There are 3 levels.
So I've seen you've done what? Foundation and certification.
Yes.
So there's still another level.
There's still another level.
Which is?
The professional.
Professional. So
Yes.
you are yet to do that one.
Yes.
Are you a member of ISPAC?
No, I'm not.
You are not. So you've not done qualification for CPA?
I didn't do CPA.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, what is the role of a chief of staff?
The role of a chief of staff, especially in the county, one is normally you have about 4 directorates that you supervise within the office of the governor. We normally have a communications section, we have a political section, we have a protocol section, and we have a governor's delivery unit. So basically what happens is we have some flagship projects within the county, and those are the ones that the governor is very focused on. So we have a unit that monitors all the flagship projects that are ongoing. We do reports, brief the governor. We also act as a liaison with the various departments on the major key projects that are going on within the department. And also in terms of communication, if there are key things the governor would like to communicate to the public, then it is done within our unit.
Okay.
So I sort of manage.
So you are like coordinating the entire function within the executive?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So using that experience and appreciating the role of IEBC, and yesterday we had one of the candidates here telling us that the biggest expenditure at IEBC is on electoral staff who are involved. So what are your thoughts on how IEBC can build and retain professional, competent, and impartial electoral workforce?
Thank you. As the elections approach, the issue of staff is going to be critical because they are going to be the face and the interaction with the voters. And given the fact that as we come to election time, we recruit for the 46,000 polling stations, meaning that we, during that process, have to recruit about 500,000 people. That in itself is a mammoth task. So IEBC will need to ensure that in terms of recruitment, we are able to recruit people of integrity, people who are transparent in their dealings, people who can be able to communicate clearly, especially to the voters.
How do you ensure you employ people of integrity? Those are the mechanisms you want to hear.
For me, what I would do in conjunction with the HR department within the IEBC is one, make sure that we have a clear HR manual that clearly states the qualifications required for which post, the competencies, the experience levels, and ensuring that the recruitments are done in an open and transparent manner so that the end result, the person that is recruited for the job is somebody who merits that specific job.
Yeah, but you've not answered me on integrity. How do you ensure that you employ persons of integrity?
With integrity, I think we have legislation that governs on the issue of integrity, that people need to be transparent, that people need to be open, they need to be accountable for their actions. I must admit that that is not going to be an easy task, especially when you're dealing with 500,000 people. But I think we can also be able to have our staff trained by EACC. I think EACC have a training unit that can also be able to come in and train our staff, who can also be trainers of trainers to our team in the regions, so that they are able to weed out the people maybe who don't meet the threshold as per the legislative framework. But I must admit, it's not going to be an easy task to get the people with good integrity when recruiting over 500,000 people.
For us as panelists here, what parameters would we use to test integrity? Any ideas?
To test somebody's integrity, I think one would be able to look at his background, his track record, maybe in the places where he has been, being able to get references from his previous employers. That can also give a guide as to what kind of a person this is. The public is also allowed to give petitions on the character of somebody. Those can also be used to gauge the integrity of a person. So I think those can be able to at least give an indication of the integrity.
Can the same not be applied to recruitment at IEBC for staff and electoral staff? What you?
Through the chair, that can be done. The only thing I was trying to look at is on that magnitude, we would then need to ensure that there's a process by which it can be cascaded from the top coming down, so that at the end of the day, all the people who will be working for IEBC, at least we can be able to say are people of integrity.
Thank you, and I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
I invite Misati to ask some questions, please.
Thanks so much, Chair. Peter,
Yes.
From a governance perspective, what reporting and accountability relationship exists between the commissioners and the secretariat?
The responsibilities for the commissioners and the secretariat is envisaged, is stated in the IEBC law, and it says that the commissioners will be responsible for formulation of policy, and that the secretariat would be responsible for the day-to-day running of the IEBC. So in terms of, this will be in terms of policy formulation for the boundary delimitation, for matters of the voter registration, for how the conduct of elections will be. But also let me add, I think that is a matter that I think has recurred severally in elections that have been held. The clear line between where the chair's role starts and where the secretary's role starts. There's always been overlap, and I think through the committees of IEBC, they should be able to check on some of the activities. For example, the Finance and Procurement Committee, the Audit Committee, the Legal Committee, so that they're able to do that oversight. But I must admit, it is a challenge, and we would need to, as a commission, get a good working arrangement between the commission and the secretariat.
Kindly show us how the reporting structure is from the constituency up to the chair. Who reports to who and under what structure?
Okay, at the constituencies, we have the returning officers who are based at the constituencies, and normally they then come up and report to the county, where we have the county elections officer based within that county, and then based on that, now it comes to the head office, or where now we'll have the chair and the secretary of the commission.
To report to the chairman or to the commission?
The secretary will report to the chair as the head of the commission.
Yes. And then your understanding of the working subcommittees of IEBC, and maybe you can say something about it, and how it helps in exercising joint responsibility.
Maybe there are, I think, about 7 subcommittees of the board at IEBC. Let me just pick one item. For example, if it was to deal with procurement. Normally the procurement process would start once the budget has been passed, and then the procurement plan is done. And that procurement plan should also be approved by the board through the Committee of Finance and Procurement, so that when we are doing the procurement, we are able to know what items will be procured, we're able to know the amounts, and we're able to know the procurement method. I think that would be adequate for the board level, because now as a board, they'll be able to be clear that the items that are going to be procured are going to be these ones, the mode is this, the amounts are this. But the actual procurement process, because the accounting officer is now the secretary of the IEBC, that role of now the actual procurement, that will now be left to the secretary of the commission, giving out the adverts, doing the evaluation of the entire process, procuring the items, but also along the way, he needs to be able to appraise the committee that this is where we are. If there are problems, then the commission should be able to come in. If I can give an example, in his book, Ahmed Isaac Hassan, I think the referee of a dirty game, he has actually picked that point when it came to the procurement of equipment, and that along the way, things didn't go as planned. And at the end of the day, it was not the secretary who was being held, it was the chairman who was being asked to account. So it's an issue that needs to be relooked at.
Thanks so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Asante.
Thank you. I invite Fatuma to ask you some questions, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Peter,
Yes, sir.
would you kindly tell the panel what legal or policy framework provides guidance for the stakeholder engagement by the IEBC?
Thank you. I think stakeholder engagement is going to be a very critical component for the IEBC, especially when we're having this issue of the trust deficit. I think IEBC would need to be able to work with as many partners as possible so that now we can be able to be clear. And areas of the principles that can be applied on stakeholder engagement, one would be possibly to agree on the terms of reference for the engagement that.
I'm looking for the legal and the policy framework that guide.
Okay.
Yeah, that guide the stakeholder engagement.
In terms of the legal framework, I think maybe starting with the Constitution itself, it provides that there needs to be public participation. Public participation, this would mean engaging with all the other stakeholders who are part of this process. Also in terms of the Election Act, the Political Parties Act, they also require that there needs to be that constant engagement. And also in terms of if we are going to have disputes, there is the Election Offences Act that will come into play. I think those will be the legal frameworks that can be able to guide the stakeholder engagement.
What about internally? The policy now, internally, the IEBC? Sure.
Some of the policies that we can come with internally, and I think this would be more or less guided by some of the provisions in the IEBC law. One, will be coming up with the clear manuals on, or if you're going to engage with a certain stakeholder, are we going to have an MOU? What are going to be the terms of engagement? Some of the standards that we are going to agree on, the outputs, what will be achieved. I think it would be good if the same is able to be documented so that even as we engage with these stakeholders internally or externally, we can be clear on what our output will be, but keeping in mind that IEBC is an independent body.
What are your insights after such a very strong background on stakeholder engagement in the electoral process? If, for instance, the IEBC ignores or rather treats it as trivial, what are your insights around that?
For me, and also based on my previous engagement, stakeholders, I feel, always have an input that they can be able to give that can improve the process. This is because they're looking at something from an outsider's view. So if a proposal or a suggestion is given, we would need to discuss it with the fellow commissioners and possibly the secretariat, look at the pros and cons and the benefits, so that if it is something that can add value, then we see how to incorporate. If it's something that maybe will not add value to the commission, then see how to still engage with them, not maybe dismiss them offhand, but just see how to keep on constant engagement with them.
Yes, I do agree. However, there is need to also note that the kind of stakeholder engagements at IEBC is very different from the stakeholder engagements we speak about when we are talking about maybe other corporates or maybe, companies, because in real sense, the IEBC actually conducts this on behalf of the public, and they are interested parties because they are candidates, they are political parties, and all these are stakeholders. And everything the IEBC is doing has an impact, direct impact on this, impact on our democracy, impact on our leadership, impact on our livelihoods. So the uniqueness of stakeholder engagement at the IEBC must be registered and understood to be very different from any other institution, organization, or company. I just wanted to put that through to you. So it's not the ordinary stakeholder engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. That's well taken. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to invite Nicodemus to ask you some questions, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Peter,
Yes.
the County Government Act of 2012 emphasizes local governance and public participation. As an IEBC commission, if you get the chance to be nominated, how would you ensure that electoral operations at the county level align with the national standards while addressing the local dynamics?
Thank you for that. I think one key thing that we would need to start with would be on the aspect of training, being able to train our staff at the county level, and also being able to reach out, because now the setup that we have now, we have the governors on board, we have the women rep, we have the members of parliament, we have the MCAs, and these are people who more or less are on the ground most of the time. So they are usually able to understand the local dynamics. So if we're able to ensure that our staff are properly trained, would be one, that there is also a clear flow of communication from our head office down to the counties, so that if there is any new amendment or a new change or a new development, it needs to be able to be sent to them early in time and in a clear and very concise way, so that we are all able to speak in one direction.
Yeah, and having worked at the county, maybe this is your 7th or 8th year?
I think 8th year now.
8th year.
Yes.
And you have worked with more than one governor.
Yes.
What were the leadership styles, not naming the governors that in particular, and which one do you prefer working with?
Thank you. I think as you've put it, we are all different, and the leadership styles have actually been very different. And one thing that I've found working very well is when the leader is able to clearly articulate his vision for the county. He's able to state what needs to be done, the specific activities that he wants to be done, giving a clear timeline and giving clear responsibilities. I think that has been the leadership style that I've seen that works best. Clarity in your vision, clarity in your mission, clarity in assignment of work to the various parties. That for me, I think I've seen it deliver and have a big impact in the county.
Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Professor to ask some questions, please.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Peter RUTO 𝐏𝐫𝐨𝐼.
Yes, Prof.
I want to follow from where my good friend and colleague here, 𝐏𝐵ore, has left. The former governor, the first governor under the county government, loses in the nominations, picks you as a running mate. The succeeding governor incorporates you into the county executive. The governor, sitting governor, whom he loses to, makes you the chief of staff. What is the magic of 𝐏𝐾𝐿?
Through the chair, I think, Prof, there is no magic. I think it is just that I'm a forthright person. I'm honest and I'm transparent in my undertakings. I also endeavor to make sure that assignments that are given, we are able to deliver on time. But beyond that, I also try to think at least slightly beyond, to anticipate what is likely to come and see how to mitigate. But I think being transparent and being open, I think are some of the qualities that possibly have led the governors to retaining me.
Very well. That was on the governors. Let's go to 𝐏𝐶𝐿 the man. 𝐏𝐶𝐿 the man has sought to be an MP. 𝐏𝐶𝐿 the man has sought to be a deputy, to be a running mate. 𝐏𝐶𝐿 the man has served as a CEC, which means a member of the cabinet. So sought to be an MP, sought to be a deputy governor, served as a member of the cabinet of the county, served as a is serving as a key bureaucrat. So you have literally walked over the space of seeking to be elected, being a member of a cabinet, a key member of the bureaucracy, and now seeking to be a commissioner. You've just told us about referee of a dirty game. You've been in the game, and you now want to be the referee. As I told one of the interviewees here, that if we use that analogy of 𝐏𝐻𝐾𝐿 son and put the football or soccer in it, then many a time, great players like you seek to be a player coach or a coach, not a referee. Why does 𝐏𝐶𝐿 not want to be a player coach or a coach, but instead wants to be a referee?
Through the chair, I think that is that's a very interesting analogy, and it is something that, as you rightly put it, I've been through the process itself. I've seen some of the challenges, especially for parties undertaking the nomination process. It's not an easy process, and you find sometimes the rules are there, but the rules are not being adhered to, therefore making it a bit unfair in some aspects. But I think, as you've put it, in any football match, there has to be a referee, and that referee has to call out when things go wrong. And I think, having gone through what I went through, and if given this opportunity, I feel I would make an impartial referee in the process. And I think, given the little experience I had going through that other process, I think we can be able to work together with other commissioners to make especially the nomination process a bit more fairer and a bit more fair and just.
I guess you mean nominations within political parties.
Yes.
That leads me to my last question on this segment. Given that you have been a political player, given that you have naturally to contest from a political formation other than being independent, which you nearly partnered your principal aspirant for governor, imagine 𝐏𝐶𝐿 is a commissioner. You've been in the game, you know what happens, you've already told us. And you became aware of your fellow commissioner meeting separately with political party operatives during an election period. How would Dr. Peter RUTO 𝐏𝐶𝐿 respond.
Through the chair, I think once you have been appointed as the chair or as a member of the commission, I think the first thing you do is you take an oath of office. And in that oath of office, you swear allegiance to the Constitution and to ensure that you conduct yourself in a manner that befits that office or that role. If I was to come into such information, first I would have to maybe in my own way try and establish the facts as to whether it is factual or not. If I find that it is something that is factual, then the first point of contact would be to notify our chair, the chair of the commission, bring to his attention that this and this has happened. Then the other would be then to contact the relevant bodies that are able to investigate the same. If it is a matter that touches on the EACC, then I think the EACC would come in and do their role. If it is a matter that possibly touches on criminality, I think the DCI then would need to be notified and would need to also come in and undertake their own investigation so that we're able to be sure. So that once that is established, then I think the other modalities of the law would come into place as to whether he would have to resign, or I think then it would follow that certain trajectory.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do you have 2 more questions, please?
Sure. EK, is
Yes.
that a full name or is it initials? That's not a question. I'm just curious.
Okay. Through the chair, I think when I was born, I think my parents gave me quite a number of names. So EK stands for _𝐏𝐫𝐶𝐿. Unfortunately, they couldn't all fit in the ID. Yes, but I think I saw an affidavit that I think has been by a lawyer just to clarify on. I think it is within my documents.
Very well, very well. Thank you very much. We go to high school. You're still, I don't know whether you have gone to X or millennial, but usually we go first to where you have had some work experience, and I saw you took quite some time during your introduction to tell us of your time in NHIF, and therefore I presume that you are very familiar with the policy of universal health coverage. Universal health coverage, and you have also worked in counties. Universal health coverage was piloted in 4 counties. Name just 2.
Through the chair, it was piloted in the 4 counties as has been stated. 2 of the counties I can mention Nyeri and Kisumu.
Well, my last question, again, I saw in matters finance, you're not very far from it. Name 3 publicly quoted banking institutions listed in the financial sector at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, NSE. Any 3 publicly listed financial banking institutions. Even your bank might be there, I'm not sure.
Thank you, Chair. I think the banks listed on the NSE, one is KCB. We also have Equity Bank. We also have Cooperative Bank.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you for your time. Dr. Peter EK, Kenyans following, they have certainly learned and we are grateful for your time. I don't know whether you have any comment, question, or whatever you like to say in a minute, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think mine would just be a comment, and that is to thank the members and the chair of the select panel for giving me this opportunity. I think I don't take it for granted. I think we were several applicants, but you deemed it fit to have me among them. And I just want to thank the panel for that. And also, if the grace can be extended to the next phase, Chair, that would be most welcome. Thank you.
You said you have capacity to anticipate what will happen in responding to Professor. Yes. We wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman.
You have your certificates with the gentleman at the door. We'll give them to you. The speaker, the notebook is yours and the pen. And if you like, the water also. Blessings to you as you travel back to Nakuru, even though Nairobi is home.
Thank you, Chairman.
Karibu.
Yep.
Yes, do you want to take a third one or do you want to take a break? Break. Okay. Okay. Media, we will be back at 11:10. Please see you then. Thank you.